That is wild. And it totally fucking worked.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 14, Episode 11, what I assume is going to be called Lollapalooza.
An extra special episode.
God damn it. She said Lollapalooza like 11 times in the first 10 minutes. Like that meant anything. Like I was like, we've come to the classic Lollapalooza episode. Because nobody knew what it was going to be. We thought it was going to be like that horrible season 11 lip sync where they were all lip syncing at once and like someone fell off the stage and Scarlett had beads everywhere.
Yep.
Oh boy. So, okay. I was kind of dreading this episode, and I hate to admit that once again, it was kind of the tits.
It was kind of the tits. It was good.
It was like the All Stars 5, where they could like, there was that lip sync smackdown.
Yeah.
And we thought we were going to hate it, and then it was actually awesome.
Yep.
My issue is I just think lip syncing is too subjective.
I agree with that for sure.
And there's always going to be like, blank clearly did blank and blah, blah, blah. And the more we've watched, the more that I've sort of gotten an eye for it. And I was going to compare it to, I was telling you that I was watching this video. I'll link to it. It's very interesting. About Celine Dion. It's a very specific performance she did of All By Myself.
Okay.
And she hit a key change. And the musicologist in the video, he was breaking down, like, in scientific and mathematic terms, why it's so effective.
Oh, okay.
There's a point where it's like the psychology behind the key changes, and she crosses a line where she begins to harmonize with the band at the moment where she says she'll never be alone again. Mm-hmm. And then when she joins the band, it's like, it's very fascinating. And one of the things that they were talking about is that Celine is very
controlled.
Yes, with her power moves, with her, but she's not very showy. She reserves her power notes, her power stances, her belting for emphasis. And a lot of times people, because they can do it, they'll just throw it all around. Mm-hmm. And the general public is like, oh my God, that's so amazing. And it's like, but it's not warranted.
So that actually reminds me of an episode of Angel where there's like a guy who's trying to basically freeze time in one perfect moment with his girlfriend. And one of the other characters is like, that's the thing about, you know, time and life and everything is that like I could hold a note forever, but it's no good unless you go like different places with it. And I agree with that. It like it's the same thing where it's like if all you do are tricks, then all you are is tricks and it's not interesting.
And that's what I think so many people, I think that they equate stunts with like a good performance. And this was an interesting batch of songs. There was one or two. I mean, I was familiar with obviously every artist. And by the time they had played, I think I knew all. Oh, there was one that I didn't know. We
both were not 100% there on the Luther Vandross song.
Okay. But because at first I thought, oh, how strange. Because I obviously I knew Respect and I knew Love Don't Cost a Thing. And I did find it interesting the ways that the songs actually warranted a different lip sync performance. And so it was really interesting to watch them interpret the songs. And because there was one in particular, how did you want to go with this?
I don't really have a preference. Lip syncing is even more subjective for me because I can't tell the difference usually. So this was not the best episode for me to be giving critiques because, I don't know, a lot of them kicked their legs up and there was a lot of shimmying and a lot of like this and like.
Well, because also.
It's all good. Everybody's good at it.
But it all, like the queen does factor in. It's like I'm in a place where I don't dislike a single one of these queens. Having said that.
Now that we know peace.
We'll get to that in a second. Having said that, there are ones that I like better than others, and there are ones whose style and or personas I prefer to others.
Yeah.
And so it's just hard for me to not factor that in.
No, I agree. And so in that case, if you're asking for a very subjective, me-only based opinion, I think my favorites were Diabetes, Willow, and Lady Camden. For the night.
So Lady Camden was the first place I was going to go to because I didn't take notes. I apologize. I usually do. And then I got comfortable. So when it came to the Lady Camden versus Bosco, and that was the In Vogue song, Don't Let Go, there was a moment, like not even 10 seconds in, and I went, oh, I said, Lady Camden's performing it.
Yeah.
Her face was performing it.
Lady Camden does a lot of face.
She was like imbuing the like song and like performing it back to you, where it's like Bosco. I love Bosco. And from a purely aesthetic or purely look place, she's my queen, but she didn't have the expression. And I joked while we were watching it, I was like, there's a reason why my favorite Spice Girl was Posh Spice. I mean, I was like, so I love Bosco, but I was like, that's not gonna, she just didn't, because I think that I was real nervous for Bosco in this one.
Yeah, I got nervous too. It was good TV though, in that way, because it was like, I felt nervous the whole time, especially because Jasmine is so good at lip syncing that once it got down to the two of them, I was like, fuck.
Well, and the thing is, Bosco's very good, but it's also it's the same thing that was in her Snatch Game performance, where it was like there's a stoicism, I think, in a way that like it served her in the Daytona Wins challenge because she was being such a stoic character.
Well, she even mentioned it in Untucked when, Diabetes was taking a little warranted heat about how she's very vocal about her issues, and Bosco was like, it's actually nice because I have basically agreed with everything you've said, but I am never the one that's going to say it first. And so I like that you said it first. So the stoicism goes with that. I
think Diabetes absolutely can come off or come across as a bit of a bully.
Yeah.
But it took me
I think bully is even a little too strong.
Well, it took me a couple episodes to realize that I was like, oh, she's just quite literally saying what she thinks.
Yeah.
And while it can be abrasive at first, and maybe it is the type of thing that, given the people you're with and the dynamics, maybe it needs to be addressed or like altered or what have you. After the initial kind of surprise of it, I find it almost disarming. I don't know.
It's almost refreshing.
Well,
at least I know.
You know what she's thinking, and it does because I much prefer, Willow Pill's sort of quieter, everybody gets along.
That bitch is crazy like a fox. Like a fox.
Who did she pick? It was Angeria.
No, she picked Bosco.
Oh, it was Bosco for the first one.
Yeah.
Because she knew
that Bosco would pick the song she wanted, and it was the Luther Vandross song. That is wild. And it totally fucking worked.
And she's not telling them anything because that's a place where Jasmine kept talking about how good she was. But it's like, we've said this before. This is nothing new. It's no surprise. But it's like, I like Jasmine. I think she is very sweet. I think she's talented. I think she's a good person. For me, she still feels underdeveloped. She feels like she's not fully, like, this is not her final form. And
very literally
and metaphorically. And so in that regard, I'm sort of like, let's dismiss her because she could come back in an All-Stars or something. It's like,
put her away for now, give her like 2 or 3 years, and I think she'll be amazing.
Because it's like, even just this, I was going to get into some of the looks, but it's like, there for me was always a disconnect somewhere with her. Like she was wearing this like spangly, showgirly, glittery, like leotard bodysuit with like thigh-high pleather boots that just, for me, other than being the same color, they weren't working. And then the wig.
That same blonde wig again.
Well, it was brown. This one was brown.
Well, yeah, but it was like she's worn another one because it wasn't the big pageanty one, but she's worn another one like this that's just long and straight, and I'm like, shit.
It just looked messy to me. Like it didn't. I don't know. There was something about it that didn't feel cohesive.
Yeah,
I don't know what she's bringing in ways that almost literally, maybe not every single one of the rest of them, but I know for a fact what Willow Pill is bringing.
Yes.
I know what Diabetti is bringing.
Yep.
I know what Bosco's bringing.
Angeria.
Because Angeria is another one where it's, unfortunately, I think, and she touched on it in Untucked, that I do think she is a little bit fading into the background. She was a huge front runner. I adore her personally.
Yeah.
Her style, she falls into the pageantry drag that it's not what I would.
So I agree. It's not 100% my vibe, but she is pulling it off like without fault, to the point where it's like, sure, I don't really like the pageant style queens, but I can't fault her for doing it because she hasn't made a misstep within that realm. Everything she's worn, and again with the cohesion, it's been correct and it's been like her vibe and she's felt comfortable in it. I don't know. I also don't love the pageanty queens, and maybe it's just her personality, but
for me, it is her personality.
Selling it across the board for me.
The looks. So I did take a screenshot.
Yeah. It wasn't really the point of this episode.
No, but it factored in for me.
It wasn't not.
Because I loved, hands down, if I'm picking a winner, it's Willow. I loved look-based everything she was doing. The wig, the makeup, the Debbie Harry / Courtney Love dress, the glitter, the layering, the elements.
Hers was the most interesting for sure. I also really enjoyed Lady Camden and Diabetti. But like,
well, it looked like her, but also I haven't seen it from her a million times. And I think that's
Bosco.
truly. But I think that's truly remarkable that someone can come out in something and you're like, yes, this is so you. And also, I haven't seen this from you.
Yeah, 100%. Which, like, Georges and Bosco, I felt.
We've seen this 100 times.
Bosco literally wore this last week. Unbelievable. Come on. We were all rooting for you.
When she walked out, I was like, come on.
And then, again, it's, I guess, to that point, I guess I haven't seen this before from Jasmine, but there's no there to, like, make it.
And this is also one of the places where I think it is warranted, the bra and panties situation.
Sure.
And in all fairness, I do,
because all of them kept their legs very free.
Yeah, I do get the sense that then maybe this sort of Carnival-esque thing is just what Georges does.
Yeah, which
is fine, but that's where I come to the fact that it's like, well, then I'm removing myself from this because I don't find that quite as it's just engaging.
To me, it's just not as interesting. Like, I would never argue she doesn't look good. She looks fucking incredible. That color yellow looks good on her. The wig looks good on her. The actual cut of the clothes look good on her. That's never the argument when I'm talking about Georges. The argument is that she's worn that almost identical outfit in every single episode so far.
Yeah. I liked this a lot from Lady Camden. However, and no, we have not seen this specific thing from her, but this is pretty well worn for her. And again, I think it was more so, and this is almost across the board for me with Lady Camden. It is always her personality and performance. Yeah. It's serviceable drag that is elevated by what she herself is bringing.
Yeah, she is a lot of fun.
Diabetti, this is very close to what we've seen from her before, but considering I've been asking for a more glamour look, it's
closer.
I was like, I will not go as far as calling it a glamour look. But it was glam.
It looks sort of like Barbie.
Yeah. I did like this.
Like edgy Barbie.
So, yeah, Jasmine, there's just something about it that just seems...
Well, and all these weird, like, tassels that fall down her leg.
Epaulettes on her thigh.
Yeah.
She almost always looks like one of those books where you have the cards and there's 3 different and you can change the panels.
Yeah, okay.
And she just always looks like...
Part of it's from the
top,
wrong.
The medium, and the bottom is on. They're at completely different parties.
Yeah, and I don't know. The wig is not very dynamic, and the outfit is not amazing. And I get what you're saying about the boots, because like Lady Camden's wearing tall boots too, but the tall boots go with her outfit. And then I don't know. It's just I don't want to.
And this isn't to pile on. Yeah,
I don't want to dump on, but
it's more. It's more sort of.
It's just been frustrating the whole run.
Well, like it's more just sort of explaining my emotional and mental process with like how I'm approaching, you know, these.
And again, I one of them, I think it was Michelle, told her a couple weeks ago that like how she's doing her makeup makes her look old, and it fucking does.
She looks like the Clinique. Like the people, Clinique still has such an old-fashioned way of like applying. It's the rouge, like,
and it just I just want something in her makeup to be soft. So young and so pretty, and I just like I do something. You have to do something else with the makeup.
I'm sorry, I was just remembering Untucked.
Oh,
when you were like, this must be her dream.
Just like
running off at the mouth,
captive audience that is legally obligated to listen to her speak for as long as it takes.
Talking cry. It's very funny. But what did I will pull a clip because we shrieked with what Willow said, because Willow was the first. That's another. So we'll get back to that. Yeah. That's another thing that was chafing me with Jasmine is when Carrie Colby left, Jasmine sort of took on the mantle of narrator. And especially in regards to like Diabetes, this like feud between the two of them.
Yeah.
And it just like I didn't love it. But
she literally goes, it's in a talking head. Willow in a talking head in Untucked was like,
we've all kind of fallen in love with Jasmine this season, but we all feel peace with Jasmine going home.
And we both screamed. It was the funniest thing. And I was like, now that is fucking shade. People like to be like, you're a fat bitch who has bad breath, and someone will be like, the shade of it all. And that's like, no, that's not. That is as straightforward.
We all feel at peace with her leaving. Willow Pill. Amazing. You're doing amazing, sweetie. It was incredible. Because even earlier in the episode, when Jasmine realized she was going to have to lip sync against Angeria, she just starts crying on the stage up there. And Daya they're all the queens that have like won are watching from the workroom. And she just goes, oh, why is she crying?
They did talk, like you said, that they brought up, and I think this was the second time they brought up Diabetes, that she could work on her form.
Yeah.
And, I would like to believe.
Delivery.
Yeah, it seemed certainly like she received the information.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think the only reason I'm like, I like often in the episodes, I'm like, you can just be quiet. I get that energy from Diabetes, but at the same time, I don't feel any artifice from her, so I don't think she's doing it in order to be like playing a game or like doing a scheme or anything. I think she is just literally saying what's on her mind. In which case, I can't necessarily fault it.
It is so funny seeing, because like Georges is over it.
Oh, she was just like basically horizontal for the entire Untucked. Hilarious.
I was like, did somebody finally get her a joint? Because that's what it seemed. So. That's what it seemed like happened.
I think it's extremely mean
that they
took her weed pen. I don't think that's right. It doesn't feel nice.
So yeah, I do think that it is still many people's game. I don't know if it's anyone's game.
Also, at some point, we still are going to have to lose more than one person at a time.
Yeah, I would imagine,
like
especially
more than
because we still have the chocolate bar in play.
Yeah.
Unless, wouldn't it be fucking hilarious if like the winner has the chocolate bar and that was just a red herring the entire time? That would almost be worth it. That would be one.
Worth it.
That would be one for the books. I might applaud if that were the case.
Yeah.
That it.
I don't know.
We had some shout outs. We had a shout out to Maddie.
Yep.
We had a shout out to Cornbread, which tragically will not be returning next year or any All-Stars of any form.
Why?
We don't know.
Did she say something?
She did. She said it wasn't her decision. However, she is the only queen who is not represented by this management that every other Ru girl is managed by. So maybe there was a contractual.
Weird.
That seems to be. But for the immediate future, she has no plans on coming back.
Too bad.
Or they have no plans to bring her back.
Oh, that's too bad.
So there is that.
Cornbread.
I really wanted, there was more there.
Yeah.
There was more there I wanted to see. But I'm following her. I encourage everyone to do the same. I think that this is but the first. This is not the last that we have seen of her.
I hope not.
And another thing, now that we're several years into doing this, I do sort of, like, as fun as the show is, I do sort of love how quickly the show evaporates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once the show's over, everybody's just kind of sort of
fine,
cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine, you know, and because I was like watching Candy Muse on Trixie Mattel's channel a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about how like it's really stressful in the moment, especially when she was getting that like really, really harsh edit and feedback and all that. And she said that after the show was over, it kind of just disappeared
immediately. Yeah.
Because she also admitted, which I figured as much, but she intentionally threw the finale because like her lip sync, because she was like, if I win, I'll never hear the end of it. So she like intentionally.
Yeah.
Kind of. But yeah, like I said, all in all, it was a very entertaining, very interesting and fun episode.
Yeah.
And you know, hot take, I'm kind of loving it, and I kind of can't wait. We're getting Moulin Rouge, Moulin Rouge, the Rusical
with main character Saltine.
I don't think you heard anything else the rest of the night. You were just like,
I can't wait.
I was like, we couldn't dust off Kylie Minogue for this one. We couldn't bring her in for.
It's too bad.
Poor Deja Skye back there by herself the whole time. We were like, when she would say, but when she like sat on the couch, I said she was probably kind of like, is like Nicole Byer or
is anybody
T.S. Madison anywhere? Can we? So, all right. Well, that was our conversation about the Dragapalooza special SmackDown episode.
Sure.
Where's Deja Skye?
It's as good as the actual name, so I'll allow it.
So, okay, cool. Well, we'll see you next week where we do this all again.
Bye.
What's it gonna